Hi y'all, thank you for joining me today. My name is Candace Gillespie and I'm here from Candace'sCanvases.com, and this is Cards Monday. Today I'm going to be showing you two of many techniques using an embossing folder, background techniques using an embossing folder. And to do that, I'm going to grab a piece of Whisper White cardstock and cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4 using my Simply Scored scoring tool. Scoring board. My Stampin trimmer. That's what this is. For my card base, I'm using real red cardstock, and I'm cutting that to 4 1/4 by 11. Bringing in now my Simply Scored scoring tool and scoring that to be 5 1/2. And when that's full, that's going to be a 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 card base, folding at the top. Okay, now it's time to play with our embossing folder. I'm just feeling for which side is raised, and that's the side I'm going to be working on. The first ink I'm going for is basic gray. Just smearing that around from the ink pad, just in random locations. And then I'm bringing in some pumpkin pie. Doing the same thing, and real red, kind of filling in where those other two inks kind of haven't touched on this embossing folder. Finally, I'm going to bring in the basic gray one last time and fill in some areas where there might be tiny blank pieces that need some ink, or some areas where I feel like there's too much of the other color and it needs some darker contrast. Okay, once that's done, I'm just kind of huffing on it to reactivate anything that may have dried, and we're taking our 4 1/4 by 5, or 4 by 5 1/4 piece of working cardstock and bringing in the fabulous Big Shot and our cutting mats, and I'm going to place that on the first tab and run that through the Big Shot. Okay, once that's done, I'm going to lift it up and bring out our piece that's all nice and colored and has lots of texture, and bring in back our card base here. And I am going to use our Stampin' Dimensionals here, and I am putting loads of them on here. Sped this up so you didn't have to tediously watch me take off these backings and things. So once that's done, I'm just going to center that on to the real red card base. And that basically is our background. So I'm bringing in the Amazing Birthday stamp set. Now this stamp set comes with 7 pieces, I believe. This is just 3 of the 7, and I'm going to emboss these with some silver embossing powder. So I'm going to grab my embossing buddy, run that over the area I intend to stamp these on. Now this is a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock. Stamp those down. And this that I'm using is pewter, but it's no longer available, so the closest thing to it is the silver, which is very close in comparison, so you're going to love the silver. And I'm going to bring in the heat tool and warm that up and melt that embossing powder. And there we go. Okay, well, now that that's done, these happen to beautifully coordinate with a 1 1/4 inch circle punch. So I'm going to punch each of those out. And then I'm just going to place them on here. I'm doing this just to kind of get an idea of where I want them. And I figured I really wanted to bring in some ribbon. So I have tons and tons of ribbon. Most of it was actually given to me, so I'm just using it up. The best ribbon to use here would be the Cherry Cobbler 1/2 inch seam binding ribbon. It's so flowy and soft and beautiful, and the Cherry Cobbler is nice and deep, and it would complement this well. So if I had it, I would use that. I kind of want to try to use up this ribbon before I get more. But I've been highly tempted to get that seam binding ribbon, especially because I love the seam binding ribbon that Stampin' Up! Carries. Okay, just tying that into a bow. And then I am going to bring in some scrap real red cardstock and my 1 3/8 circle punch, and I'm going to punch out 3 circles. Now this is just slightly bigger than our pewter or silver embossed images, so it's going to layer perfectly on top. Some Stampin' dimensionals. Now one of them I'm going to layer up 2 dimensionals because that's going to go in the middle, and I'm going to put that on the birthday cake. These 2 don't need the second layer. Oh, right. The first dimensional where those get 1, but I'm going to flip them over, and here's where I put the 2 on top because this is going to lie in the center of these 2 other sentiments. So I'm just gently placing those on there, not sticking them down yet. And then I'm bringing in this double layered dimensional. It's going to sit nicely right in the middle, and then spacing those out perfectly. And then giving them a nice press down. It gives it some nice layering. Now it's time to work on the inside of the card. Here's the second technique. I'm going to cut down another piece of Whisper White cardstock using my Stampin' trimmer to 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to bring back the embossing folder. Kind of wipe it off. Now our classic Stampin' ink is water soluble, so while I was working with this, I just wiped it off with a baby wipe, but when I was done, I just ran it under the sink water. It was fine. It rinsed right off. Now I'm doing the same thing here. I am just putting this on in the same pattern, just randomly, only I'm doing it in this corner because this is going to be for the inside. So I don't need the whole thing inked up. And I'm just going to do a corner of this card. Now the difference here is at first I ran it through the Big Shot. Here I'm just taking my bone folder and pressing down, and look at this beautiful pattern it gives us. You can use this for a card front. You know, here I'm just using the color scheme to coordinate, but this would be beautiful for a card front also. So there's the 2 techniques. So just to finish this off, I'm just putting some fast fuse adhesive to a strip of this ribbon, and I'm laying it along the corner of the cardstock. Then I'm bringing in another stamp from the amazing birthday stamp set. And this reads, "Happy, happy birthday to you." And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get my embossing buddy, put it where I intend to put the stamp, ink it up with some VersaMark, stamp it down. And notice I'm not doing the usual center stamp. I'm kind of putting it off to the left there. That's kind of a fun element. I feel like this card is kind of out of my comfort zone because it's so bright and colorful. My favorite cardstock is the craft cardstock. But you know, it's a good thing. I like to get out of my comfort zone. So just melting that embossing powder. And then we're going to adhere this down to the inside of our card using our fast fuse adhesive. This fuses fast. So once it sticks, it's down, it's down. One card, I put it down and it was crooked, and I just had to leave it crooked. So that sums it up. Now once you're done making your card, remember to put your signature on it. And I do that by using our personalized name stamp. Mine says a C for Candace's Canvases, and then it says Candace Gillespie and CandacesCanvases.com. You can put your address on it. You can put anything on these, which is really cool. So this basically sums up our card. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Cards Monday. Thank you so much for subscribing. By doing so, you get to know what's going on here at Candace's Canvases. And liking this video is also a blessing to me, and leaving a happy comment. You can visit Candace'sCanvases.com to see late episodes, or past episodes I should say. You can join my team there, and you can shop my Stampin' Up store, as well as some homemade goods that I've made, cards like these, some mini albums and things I have available for purchase on there. So that's it. Thank you so much again for watching, and we'll see you for Scrappy Wednesday.